Hey, what's up, cats and kittens? And shout out to all my cerebral lights. It is me, the Cerebral Diva, and I am back with another episode of RealiTEA, and that's TEA because I give it to you scalding hot. So grab your cups, grab your saucers, gather round, and let's all partake in this libation of basketball wives tea. Okay, so here we are, season 7, episode 6, and it went down on this episode. This is one of those episodes where you literally needed a cup of hot tea to watch this episode. I was sitting there the entire episode, mouth just hanging wide open. I was just dumbfounded, discombobulated, awestruck. It was just crazy to me what happened during this episode. Now, I've been trolling the internet and just reading comments from other people, and I see that the majority of the people are Team Tami, right? And I think that people are Team Tami because people aren't really dissecting this particular nugget that she dropped the other night on the episode. So before we start talking about all of that, let's break down exactly what happened on the most recent episode. So Tami had been intimating to Shawnee that she had a little piece of information that Shawnee might want to know. She took Shawnee shopping. First of all, before we talk about this, I have to digress for just a moment here. Those braids in Shawnee hair, I'm just not here for it. Not a good look. Sorry, I just had to take a sidebar and just, yeah, not a good look, Shawnee. So anyway, they're out shopping, and Tami decides that she wants to sort of drop a few breadcrumbs for Evelyn, for Shawnee to follow. And she's like, there's something going on, something, that, might affect you, and this, that, and the third. And so Shawnee, her ears perk up, of course, because if somebody is in the streets talking about you, you want to know. So she's like, tell me, well, what is it? Now, Tami does one of those things that I hate. Look, if you're not going to tell me the whole story, don't tell me anything at all. That's how I feel. Don't, sort of dangle a carrot in front of my face and not tell me what's really happening here. Especially if you're calling yourself a friend, especially if you have information that could be embarrassing or harmful to me and you're a quote unquote friend, but you're waiting for this opportune time to tell me. No, don't do that. If you're not going to say it then, don't tell me anything at all as far as I'm concerned. So I didn't like the way that Tami played that, but I get it. It's reality TV. They have to drag it out, and there needs to be sort of these dramatic moments. So we're going to give them an artistic license on this particular issue, but in real life, that would be grounds for termination as far as I'm concerned for friendship. So Tami apparently is aware that, so Tami and Jen were really good friends. Everyone knows that Evelyn and Jen fell out way back in Miami when Evelyn tried to run across the table on Jen. And shout out to Jen. This is a different Jen. I don't know what's been happening. I don't know if it's the Tim thing that happened, but it is a different day. And remember when Eric threw the wine in Jen's face and she just sat there at the table and let it run down? And I remember watching that scene like, girl, if you don't get up and do something to this man, I know you can't beat him, but do something. Get up and curse him out. But she just sat there with her face drenched and didn't say or didn't do anything. So I'm used to this more passive Jen. But Jen has been off of reality TV now for probably about 5 or 6 years. I'm not sure exactly how long the span has been. But she's come back with a little bit more bite to her. Like, I don't know if someone took her to Chili's and bought her a side of baby back ribs, but she's gotten some backbone from somewhere. Because, I even earlier on in this season, I saw her sort of taking a more timid, passive approach towards dealing with Tami. And in this moment, you see her sort of poking her chest out like, no, not on my time. That's not what we're going to do here, Tami. I didn't say that. So I love the fact that there's a bolder, more body Jen than we've seen before. I think Jen knows that she wants to stay on the show and then she wants to keep a paycheck coming in on a consistent basis, and basketball is her bread and butter, because it's not just about it's not just about basketball wives. It's also about having the opportunity to push your product. So staying on the store is really vital to your long-term success, and I think Jen recognizes that, and that's why she's being so aggressive during this current season. But back to my original point. So Tami decides that she wants to take the girls on this little day retreat, and it's supposed to be sort of this kumbaya healing moment where, even those who have the most contentious moments are going to sit down and have a pleasant exchange and talk about the things that they see positive in people that they don't necessarily like or agree with, right? And so we see in one of the vignettes, we see, Evelyn sort of commenting like, girl, please, this is Tami. So, I'm side eyeing this whole get together because I know how Tami gets down. And that's one of those situations where you should always listen to your intuition, because Evelyn was 100% right. This was an ambush. This wasn't about a daytime retreat. Tami just masked it as that, using the Lord and using healing as the impetus to get people to argue and fight. Excuse me. It's just crazy to me. So Tami calls all the girls there. Pretty much everyone shows up. I'm trying to think if there was anyone who wasn't present, but most of the girls showed up. Anyone who was important was there. I'll put it to you that way. And so everyone tries to go around and say nice things. Now, I will say this too. I feel like Evelyn sort of pulled that karma to her in that moment, right? Because when Tami sat down, everyone else sat down. Everyone went around. Even Jackie. They both Jackie and Christy. They both have the most volatile relationships with Evelyn, but they both managed to conjure up a nicety to express to Evelyn. But Evelyn was like, no, I don't have anything nice to say about either one of you. Look, we're not going to be friends. We're not friends. That is what it is. That's about as good as it's going to get from my perspective, which I thought was a little bit petty. So I think at that point, that's probably what triggered Tami in that moment. She's like, oh, for real? Is that what we're doing? So I was sort of keeping this in my back pocket, but since you want to act up, let me put it all on the table. And so Tami slowly starts inching towards, actually no, Shawnee brought it up. So Shawnee was like, so is there something about me that you want to share? What's going on? And Tammy's like, I don't want to share it. And so, well, she asked, so Shawnee finally says, well, is the person who said it, are they here? And Tami was like, yeah. And then Evelyn's like, raises her hand and she's like, can we just let her know that it has nothing to do with me? Let's just take my name off the table. And a hush came over the room. So no one said anything that would give Evelyn a pass. So in that moment, Evelyn knew that this, the nonsense was about to begin. So Malaysia gets, Evelyn and Jen are sitting off to the side. They sort of always sort of create this wall between them and the rest of the crew. So the two of them are sitting on this lounger off to the side, and the rest of the girls are sort of congregated around the table. And so Malaysia gets up, and says, Jen, come here, let me talk to you. And Malaysia pulls Jen to the side and says, well, what Tami is talking about and what Shawnee is asking about is the fact that you told Tami that Evelyn slept with Shawnee's ex-boyfriend. And I think they're talking about the guy who's a model actor, the really cute one. That's really the only guy I've ever seen Shawnee with outside of Shaquille. So I think that's the guy that they're talking about. He's been on a couple episodes of Basketball Wives, so if you're interested, I'm sure you can find out who he is. I'll actually post a picture in this video too. So Jen's like, in that moment, as soon as Malaysia tells her what's happening, you just see, as brown as Jen is, you see the color drain from her face. She's like, uh-oh. She's like Scooby-Doo, ruh-roh, in that moment. So after Malaysia fills Jen in, they go back over to the rest of the group. And Jen just basically, blurts it out. Look, me and Tami had a conversation, and I was asked. And she just sort of started tap dancing around the issue. And in that moment, Tami said, and Shawnee's like, well, what's going on? And Tammy's, well, it sounds like she's trying to cover her ass. And Jen's like, no, I'm not trying to cover anything. So her and Tami sort of get into this heated exchange. And then Jen is ultimately says, well, look, they said that Evelyn slept with your boyfriend, your ex-boyfriend. And you just see Shawnee's face just melts, because it's just embarrassing. Like, first of all, Tami, if Shawnee was really your friend, if you really cared about Shawnee and you have some information, you don't put it in that particular format, in that particular form, excuse me. You pull your friend aside. Like, you want them to save face. You don't want to have them being embarrassed on TV, on camera. And this whole situation made me look at Tami differently. And this is one piece of the puzzle that I don't think a lot of people are really, really assessing, right? Everyone's thinking Tami's right and Tami blew up the spot. But Tami is shady for multiple reasons. And one of the main reasons I think she's shading in this particular instance is because everyone knew but Shawnee. Now, even based on the information that Tami is sharing, Jen told this specifically to Tami. She she didn't talk to anyone else. She was only in communication with Tami. So the fact that Jackie knows, Malaysia knows, and whomever else knows means that Tami was running her mouth. Now, if anybody runs their mouth about Tammy's business, you know she will smoke a cigarette and go crazy in a New York minute. So the fact that she has this double standard about loyalty and friendship when it comes to her business, but she doesn't extend that same courtesy in return, just makes me look at her differently. Because A, you didn't have to put Shawnee on blast like that. B, if Jen entrusted you with this information, even if she was angry at Evelyn, because I'm going to tell you, to me, what it looks like, the whole basis of this blow up is Tammy's ego can't take it. She doesn't like playing second fiddle. She feels like Jen chose Evelyn over her, and it hurt her feelings. And she doesn't like being number two. She feels like Jen used her until she got back with Evelyn, and now that Evelyn is back, she's back with her true friend. Now let's keep it 100. Jen and Evelyn make better friends than Tami and Jen, because let's just talk about stylistically. Jen and Evelyn are both stylish. Tami, you can love her all you want to, but oh my God, every time she comes into a scene, I'm just like, Lord, please. Do you have a gay friend in the world? You need a gay entourage immediately, because the way she's styled in some of these scenes, just, it's crazy to me. And so Jen and Evelyn run fashion circles around Tami. And so I think that beauty, fashion, style is something that really forms a bond between Evelyn and Jen, and it's not something that they necessarily have in common with Tami. So Tami doesn't like the fact that Jen essentially chose Evelyn over her, and her feelings are hurt. Woe is me, poor Tami. And so she's like, well, if you're not going to be friends with me, I'm going to destroy the potential for any friendship that you have with Evelyn. So you're not going to be friends with either one. And it's like the saying goes, hurt people hurt people. And so when I see Tami in that moment, I just feel like if the goal was to enlighten, to help, to be a good friend to Shawnee, you don't wait a year to do that. You don't sit around and talk to everyone else about what happened and not talk directly to your quote unquote friend. So if Shawnee was smart, even though she's receiving this information, when she stepped back from the situation and really had some time to process and understand that whether it's true or not, because at this point, truth is out the window. It's not even about truth, it's about loyalty. And it doesn't take, I don't like a person who waits until they're pissed off at someone to throw that person under the bus. Because if you're pissed off at them and you throw them under the bus, I know I can't divulge any information to you, because when we have an altercation, when we have an issue, the moment we blow up, you're gonna go out and blow up my spot. So anyone who's friends with Tami should be watching the situation and watching the way she moves, because it may be Jen today, but it's you tomorrow. So anyway, you guys, that's my take on this whole episode of Basketball Wives. I want to know what you think. Let me know if you're Team Jen. Let me know what you think about the points that I've made in this, because I'm really curious to know. And I love counterpoints. So don't think just because it's my channel or my video, you have to agree with me, because I'm not a yes person. I definitely like to hear opposing opinions, but just make sure you do it in a respectful capacity. Excuse me. Anyway, you guys, with that being said, have a fantastic day. It's me, the Cerebral Diva, and as always, in closing, remember to live better, love harder, and think smarter. Oh, and also remember to like, comment, share, and subscribe if you feel so inclined. I'll talk to you guys again soon. Bye.